call this meeting to order. Could I have roll call, please?
Marie Claire Gorham.
Here.
John Krischer.
Yes.
Susan Murphy. Here. Phil Pardue.
Here.
Mary Jo Williams.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum, and if everyone can remember to just speak into their microphones.
Okay. All right, let's have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Do we have any public appearances? Anybody like to speak?
Good morning.
Morning.
I've never been to a library trust board meeting before, and it's good to be here. And I just wanted to thank you for your service. And I'm excited to be working with you on some exciting things over the next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other appearances? All right. We'll move on to order of business. One, the Master Plan Ad Hoc Committee review and discussion about the Harrison Memorial Library of Trustees Authority in general with regards to the renovation project for the Harrison Memorial Library and provide direction.
All right. So as you all know, we have been looking at a potential renovation of the Harrison Memorial Library. This conversation began during fiscal year 22-23 when the city funded a first phase of a master plan for both the Harrison and the Park Branch buildings to give us a better understanding of, again, what was behind the walls, what needs to be fixed in the next 10 years or so, what systems are going to need upgrades, which was helpful. And they also provided some preliminary design ideas, understanding that the city has many competing infrastructure needs, deferred maintenance, all of that. The Carmel Public Library Foundation stepped off and offered to undertake the fundraising, and they've been exploring different methods and have consultants to help them explore building a capital campaign. This fall, the city issued a request for proposals for architectural services, and the council agreed to the CPLF's proposal for an architect selection committee to review those applications and make a recommendation regarding the project architect to the trustees and the council for their final approval. As we begin this new year, the negotiations between the city and the CPLF regarding funding remain ongoing. The Architect Review Committee has narrowed down a recommendation for a project architect, and the CPLF continues to explore those fundraising efforts. While that work is ongoing, this provides us with an opportune time prior to the commencement of any design work, architect contracts, to clarify and discuss the trustees' authority with regards to library operations and library buildings, and how that will factor into the proposed renovation project. The Board of Trustees authority is vested in Chapter 2.72 of the Municipal Code. I won't go into all the detail that was included in your staff report. The big takeaway, and that's the summation after you go through bullet point of the big pieces here, is that the trustees have authority over the library operations, and that includes managing both of the library buildings, administering our funds, and then of course making recommendations regarding capital projects and staffing, which are intertwined with both the library operations and the management of the property, to the city council, though the council does retain final approval of those capital work, any capital work and staff based on funding priorities, as previously mentioned. The city does hold the legal title to the building, but the trustees do have operational control. What does this mean for the renovation of the library itself, should that move forward? The trustees' major responsibility, which cannot be delegated, is to determine whether any proposed design supports or compromises the functionality of the building, and this functionality is really important to ensure continuity and efficiency of library operations that meet library patron needs. Second, it's to base any approval, rejection, or recommendation of for the proposed design to the council, planning commission, or any other body like the Historic Resources Board on whether that design does meet library patron needs. The board takes this seriously. The ad hoc committee in the spring, April 2024 regular meeting, adopted some guiding principles to keep in mind as we work through this project, which are in alignment with the authority vested by Chapter 2.72. Those are to ensure that the library, we have well-maintained facilities that meet our library patron needs, that we maximize service hours, that there is no negative impact to the workforce, that there's no extra cost to the city residents, and that there is minimal disruption to services should this project move forward. In addition to making sure that the buildings meet patron needs, other factors that the board will be considering regarding design impacts will include, but aren't limited to, potential increased annual maintenance costs or potential costly repairs for the city in the future, or additional staffing needs that would be incurred with, for example, an increase in technology systems or program changes with moving departments around. The next steps, as mentioned at the beginning of the staff report, are that the negotiations between the city and the Carmel Public Library Foundation continue on. Two key areas of the contract still remain undetermined, and that is the project administration and the funding model. I think it's important that the city is, and the ad hoc committee as well, that as the city continues to negotiate a funding agreement with the Carmel Public Library Foundation, that the trustees recommend that as the building owner and the holder of any liability, that the city take a stance on both of those key areas to ensure that the city is protected and that the trustees are able to fulfill their authority as governed by city code. And we continue to look forward to reviewing the agreement between the city and the Carmel Public Library Foundation when that is completed, to make a recommendation and to review the Architect Review Committee's recommendation for project architect and move those forward to the City Council. Ad hoc committee, do you have any comments you would like to make?
So as we go forward, when you parse through the responsibilities and authorities, the way it looks like in conjunction with this renovation project, and this is basically paraphrasing or repeating some of what you said, is that it looks like through the course of time, initially the library board of trustees were responsible for everything for the library, and over time, through agreements with the city and things like that, the building is a responsibility, the maintenance of the building is a responsibility of the city, and they have the vested title. But the operations still are for the board of trustees. So what that means going forward is that and the city has many different this project will have to go through other things like will probably have to go through the planning commission, the historical commission, the routine things that have to be done unless that's taken care of in the legal agreement, and that's for the city to determine. That is not our responsibility. The outside design changes of the building, not our responsibility. I mean, it's not, we have no authority or responsibility to do that within this board. So, that part of the design is not ours. When it comes to the internal, absolutely. Because the city provides the shell, and we have to determine what goes in that shell that best serves the patrons. And it's not just as we know from our board reports, it's not just the community of Carmel-by-the-Sea, but it's also the larger diaspora of patrons that we have that go out through Carmel Valley and others, which actually better reflect the composition of the donors to the Library Foundation, because they have a wider draw for funding that keeps us going every year. So we need to make sure that wider community is taken care of. So it's a little bit broader than just the city for the patrons. However, on the other side is that you have to make sure that we can afford to run it on the other side. We can't be driven into where we have no money. And right now, if we were to talk to our patrons, they're less interested in a building upgrade as much as we need this. They just don't see it. What they want is, they want 7-day-a-week
Yeah.
openage of the library. They want more people there. So we can't build something that actually reduces hours on the other side when they're already not happy with what we have now. John?
I concur with you because that is the number one thing I hear in public. We want Saturday hours, we want Sunday hours, and don't touch the building. That's everybody. That's 90% of people tell me that's what they want. But I think basically the board's, those 5 principles is what the board has to stand by. I mean, we're all in this, we're all dedicated on the board, and we care about the library. And the number one thing does these 5 principles. We're here to serve the public, do the best job we possibly can. The lawyer can explain more that our powers. I think we have a lot of really authority, but we want to use it wisely. We want the library to be a welcoming place used by the community. And I think we can do it. It's just, I think we're just trying to find out the best way that we can do it and all needs are met. And a lot of talks you and I have had on this committee with Ashley is basically just to serve the community. Make sure everybody is happy, the staff's happy, and as we have a functional library. I think the other point you brought up too, I'm fearful of the maintenance costs. I realize things are technology out there coming on, but the expense, that's an awful lot of money, and can the city pay for all this extra expense?
Right, and that's something that needs to be taken care of in the design.
I mean,
and that is a city function to determine what level of support. Although there is within the, if you go through the code also, there's a mechanism for outside funding to fund positions at the library. So if there was some long-term agreement with the foundation for if there was a large technology thing, then that's an option too. There's a mechanism, and I think that it's better left to the city and to figure out if that's still viable or not, if they want to do that. The one thing I would add is that we do recognize that the building does need to have renovation, and although the patrons don't see it and don't want it, that doesn't mean it doesn't need to happen.
I mean, the ADA compliance has to be done. There's no question. And how to do it that everybody will be happy, that's going to be the real tough part. But our thing really is just these 5 points. That's what I want to stress. We're here to serve the public, and these 5 points are really should be our basis of what we want to do. I think down the road, maybe we're going to have to, the boards are going to have to figure out a way to maybe ask for public financing ourselves to do the maintenance, if we have, if it comes to that fact, to keep it going. There's a lot of things we're going to have to explore down the road. And right now, this is preliminary. This meeting here, basic today, was just to kind of brief the board on our authority and let people know that we really care. I just can't say it enough. The people care. The board cares and wants the community to be served.
We also want to make sure the legal agreement conforms with the city code. I mean, that's at the end.
It protects the city and us.
First of all, do we know how much the foundation has raised for this project?
Well, I think that's not what
That's not
what the discussion is about today.
Our privy to us.
Well,
That's
he
our
was
personal.
asking about funds that you were.
We were
worried
just talking about maintenance in general.
Maintenance in general, what we're going,
Okay.
what it may, our maintenance costs may be, because we're really responsible for running the library and keeping all, if we have all this new technology, which costs an awful lot to keep going. So how's our budget going to be adjusted? How are we going to be able to do it? They're all questions that I think together we can all figure it out. It's just going to take some time.
Since we have the city attorney here with us this morning, are there any questions of the city attorney?
I kind of think if you read the bullet points that they gave on the statues, they're pretty well self-explaining, am I right?
Well, that's the hope. The code sections are in the chapter 2.72, and Ashley and I have communicated before your meeting today, and I worked with her on the staff report, so she's accurately described what your legal authority is based on the municipal code. So if you have
Okay.
questions about that, I'm here to respond.
No, they're stated quite well. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, any other discussion about this? Any ideas? Mary Jo, do you have any comments?
I have, sorry, more questions than comments. So I understand the bullet points, I understand, but I don't actually understand what the larger question is today. You know, so I understand we're clarifying what the responsibility of the board is, but maybe I'm just being kind of naive, but I don't understand what the crux of the concern is. And maybe that's just my own naivete, but I don't know. What is the conflict that we're trying to resolve today?
It's not a conflict that we're trying to resolve. I think that's, and I understand why you have that question. It's not a conflict. It's simply, as we go through this process, it's important to understand and underline what the board's responsibilities are, because they're very serious responsibilities. We're a little bit different than some of the other commissions in terms of the authority that you have, and that's vested in us by the state. I mean, that's been in place since 1901. So it's just for us to have an update here, and if there's any questions, again, about that authority that we have. That the ad hoc committee thought that this would be a good time to do this in advance of getting any further down the road with the project, since this has been kind of slow going this year, and we've been having some special meetings and not. But okay, what exactly is our role and responsibility, so we know what will be forthcoming and when during this process?
And this meeting's also, we've advertised that you know, what they are, because I think that over time, we didn't know exactly what we had not gone through the code, we had not taken a look at it, and we have discussions coming up. And so what happens is you end up getting yourself into positions where you're making arguments and taking stances on things that it's not you have no business doing. But it also is, there are things that where you need to take a stand. Right, and so do the people involved in the negotiations as we go forward, that everybody knows, you know, what the city code says, what can be negotiated, who needs to be part of the discussion, and going forward. And that's the real purpose here. I think we thought we were going to have more, and we didn't.
Okay.
For this meeting. So,
Yeah, but as you said, we just want everybody in the board to know.
Okay.
We don't want to keep anybody in the dark. We want everybody to know.
No, I appreciate that.
What's going on.
I did read the code over and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
like I keep telling it all the time, we're all part of this. You know, we're all together on this, and everybody to be informed and know what's going on and know our duties and what we're going to do. We all volunteered to be on this board, and we were appointed to be on the board. And I think everybody wants to do a great job. And then if you have the facts of what your authority is, then we can move forward and know what we can do and what we can't do. And whatever we do, it's going to be, decision we make, it's going to be, every one of us is going to have input, and we'll vote on how we want to go forward. This isn't...
Well, and I think it helps set up expectations for our library patrons as well.
Yeah.
So that they understand what the authority of the board is and what our role will be as we go through this process, so they know how to participate in the process outside of, you know, design meetings and things like that, but what the library board's role is.
There's other things down the road was going to come down. We're going to have to reach out to the community. And then we reach out to the community on what's going on. Mm-hmm. We know our authority and what we're going to do. I mean, I think that's our next really big step, is to reach out to the community and get the community informed. And if we know our duties and what our responsibilities are, we can do that much more confident of what we're going to do. It's a very exciting time for us, but then there's going to be an awful lot of challenges. And Phil and Nash and I have spent a lot of time working on this. And I think it's great how far we came, but we really need all of you on board at what's going on. It's going to affect the community. I've been here a lot of years, and I know when you talk about the library, whew, it gets quite involved, so. Any other comments from anybody?
No,
Open up to the public. Anybody say?
Good morning. Alexandra Fallon, Executive Director of the Carmel Public Library Foundation. Nice to see everybody. I want to echo John's sentiments about caring for the library. The board that I serve, of course, feels the same. And I think we have so many people in the community who have heartfelt feelings about the community. And so I think that we're all sort of in this together and trying to do the best that we can. I just wanted to address quickly about the restoration and the updates for the library when it comes to technologies. I think we should always consider and voice that some of these new efficiencies are going to be, could be cost reductive too. So they might not all be, adding more to the bill when it comes to deferred maintenance. But I wanted to just say that over the past 30 years, under the city's oversight, and by extension, the library trustees, the Harrison Memorial Library has continued to fall into disrepair, that there are many repairs that need to happen, and now we're at a point where we saw from the deliverables of the master plan that a seismic upgrade, like larger things need to happen. In order for the library to be able to provide access, which we covered with ADA, which will be a wonderful improvement, and to have a well-maintained facility that meets its patrons' needs. CPLF became involved with this project because neither the library trustees nor the city has the funding to restore and update the library now and for the future. Nor does the city have the bandwidth for a project of this magnitude, as it is CPLF's mission to help keep the library open, relevant, and thriving, and as CPLF is the primary revenue source for its annual operations, CPLF wanted to help with a solution by raising the significant funds needed, ensuring the architectural design would be thoughtful and aligned with this significant historic landmark building. In taking on raising funds for this large project, CPLF has devoted considerable resources and time to ensure a successful outcome for our community, which includes engaging a capital campaign consultant, an architectural historian. The city council approved the 19-person architect selection committee, which was comprised of a cross-section of representatives from the library board of trustees, the city mayor, the Carmel Public Library Foundation, community residents, architects, and historian, which resulted in the near unanimous selection of the architectural firm Moore, Rubel, and Udell. It was through this process that each individual member could have one vote, and that was how the selection was made.
just the architectural committee has done that, but the council has not approved that yet, correct?
All right, the architect selection committee made the selection,
But it's still
and it was
is-
given, and it was approved as
Right,
in
from
the
there, but
RFP.
the city has not officially awarded the RFP yet, correct? So we are,
Yeah, that is correct. So and let's let Alex finish their comments. We can provide
right, no,
clarification.
my only
but-
problem is that we're getting ahead of ourselves on,
Right, no,
Well,
right.
the-
The architect
I mean-
selection, the architect, Phil and John and I were on this committee.
okay, I'm sorry, I
They've-
just want to make sure we're
They've,
okay.
I'd say the architect selection committee did select, or better, will be making a recommendation to the
Okay.
city council for approval that nothing is finalized until a contract is signed and brought to the council for approval.
So the
So,
architect that was selected will be going into contract negotiations with the city.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. I just wanted to,
No, I understand
yeah,
that, but
okay.
what I'm,
yeah, it's,
there's a selection process, and I don't know how the city runs it, but you don't want to, as long as it's just the architectural committee is making the recommendation, we're okay.
yes.
Okay.
So, just in closing, having experienced individuals with expertise for every phase of this project is essential for a successful outcome. And given the need for this project and the fact that this current process that we've been engaging in has led to us raising almost half the money needed for the project thus far, we want to emphasize that this is a special once-in-a-century project that requires partnership and cooperation. And with that said, despite CPLF's great success to date, without this cooperation from this Board of Trustees, the project will fail. So we want to just say that we recognize the need for cooperation, that there are many, and I am repeating myself because I can't stress the importance enough that having experts along the way for each of these phases will ensure the success. Having people who are not experienced or do not have this, there's not, to control that aspect of the project doesn't make sense. It won't make for a successful outcome. We need the best of the best minds on this, and we need to make sure that our community is with us as we move forward. And that's pretty much what I have to say. Does anyone have any questions or anything? Or?
Any other comments from the public? Mayor, you have a comment?
Thank you, Alexandra.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Short comment.
Sure.
I came into this very late in the game, as the three of you who were on the committee know. I showed up on the last day of a long process, and it was a very interesting meeting and very well run. And this project has the opportunity to be transformative for the city. Everybody knows we've got, I think it's over $100 million in deferred maintenance. There's stuff we can't see under us right now, and there's things above us that we just replaced, but it's a lot. And we have the opportunity here without any cost to the city. And I do agree, as I brought up in the meeting about maintenance, we don't want to have another situation like Sunset Center where a lot of the buildings needs to be refurbished and there's no money for it. We talked about the elevator last night at the council meeting. So I think taking a holistic view of it, as John said, and I think Phil said, is important, and we can do that. But this project is really important, and I think we all just need to work together. And I love the fact that you stated you're part of it, because when you start doing requirements, all the parties have to be included in that. And three of you saw the presentation from the architect that was recommended and selected. And I got the clear understanding that they know how to do this. They know how to include all of us in doing this project correctly. So without taking a stand on any of the contract negotiations, I think that this is very exciting, and I'm looking forward to working with you and helping to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man.
Do you have any questions of me?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion from the board?
So so first off, that we support the. I think I can safely say that we all support the upgrade of the library as it goes forward. Our concern is making sure that the ongoing operations and the result meets the best interest of the patrons, and that it is our responsibility as the Board of Trustees to say either yes or no at the end. As far as there's many different things under discussions that are going back and forth between the city and the foundation to get this thing off the ground. And as we said earlier, the building is the way that it's structured within the city. The building is the city's responsibility. Right. And so we have no say in that.
No.
And so but we're very supportive of the fundraising that goes on with the foundation, getting this thing through. It's just when you look at the agreements that are going back and forth, we want to make sure that the Board of Trustees has the opportunity to exercise its duties as put forward by the city and is not delegated out or not signed away or things like that. I think that's what we're saying. And there's to the other board members, there are negotiations going back and forth that, due to the sensitivity, we're not being shared right now. So,
I agree with you, Phil. I think we just stick to our 5 principles as our basis. This contract negotiation will be between the city and the CPLF. That's their realm. Our responsibility is these 5 things.
That's right.
That is our responsibility right now.
Right.
And we will work with the CPLF, community involvement as much as we possibly can.
Right.
Get the word out too, so this can go smoothly. Once it gets going, we don't really want a lot of negativity from the city. We want do the best we can do to put out the word and everybody know what's going on.
And we ask that as we go forward, that both the foundation and the city keep in mind
Yeah,
this going forward.
yes.
Yes.
That the board really wants, is not against the project, really wants to work with them and really cares. That's all I want to really say is the board members really want to be involved and really care about the library. Any other comments?
We've closed public comment for that portion of the meeting, but any other comments by the Board of Trustees?
No. Oh, I don't have any more.
You have anything?
No?
Okay.
All right.
I guess that's it.
That is.
Thank you all for being here. Meeting adjourned.
Did you want to say something, Alex?
Just that the architect selection committee that we developed